Hi YouTube, it's Grant here. I got another deck tech for you guys. This is for Kaalia of the Vast. It's a cool commander. It's tribal. It's really, really good because it lets you cheat out creatures with big mana costs. It's for angels, demons, and dragons. And so Kaalia, what she does is she says when she attacks an opponent, you can put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So basically, you're cheating out big dumb creatures, and it's a super aggressive deck. I want to jump right into what we have into it, but I do want to talk a little bit about the strategy here. So basically, the main things we're trying to do is make all of our permanents indestructible, and then cast board wipes that ended up being one-sided. We want to get as many combat phases as we can to start pushing stuff out, and use spot removal just to make sure we can get in. The main thing with the removal is not to take care of problematic cards, which you should do, but it's more just to make sure that if somebody has a flyer, you kill that so you can swing in and keep your little tiny 2/2 Kaalia the Vast alive, because you need her for this deck to work. She's very, very important. And actually, because she's so important, I'm going to go over ramp first just because I think that's important to talk about. There's two problems, and they're both solved with a very specific ramp. So you want to have her first. You want to get her out on turn 3, if possible. Turn 4, for sure. Like, guaranteed turn 4. And you want to start swinging by the latest at turn 5 so you can get things out. And that way nobody on your opponent's side has anything to block with. Because that really puts a damper. But one of the problems is, because people know how aggressive and strong Kaalia the Vast is, people tend to run removal and wait for you to cast her, then destroy her. So giving her hexproof is obviously very important with the boots and stuff like that. But also you're going to want 1 or 2 mana ramp so they can get her out as fast as possible. But if people keep destroying your commander and you need it to work, you need a way to cast these giant creatures that have 7, 6, and 8 mana cost creatures. So we're running Smothering Tithe, which for 4 mana is a fantastic ramp. We're running Urza's Incubator, which makes you choose a creature type and everything costs 2 less of that type. So, it takes your 6 cost angels down to 4. Super, super helpful. Worn Power Stone, which is 3 for a 2 mana tap. It's a good rate because you consider most mana ramp cost 2 for 1. This is 3 for 2, so it's actually very good. And then, of course, I'm running the last big one I believe here is Thran Dynamo, which costs 4 mana, but it taps for 3. So that's super important when you have things like Avacyn Angel of Hope that costs 8 mana to play. So that's the big ramp and very important to have. So even though this is an aggressive fast deck, it's important to make sure you have the right kind of ramp in this deck. We're running Arcane Signet, Star Compass, lets you tap for rainbow for 2. Talismans, just basically all the talismans in the colors, and then Soul Rings and some Signet, and a Signet. You could run the Signets as well instead of the talismans. I like having the flexibility there. That's the ramp, and then let's go into the creatures. So like I said, the deck, I'm basically trying to make everything indestructible, do one-sided board wipes, and beat face, latch onto somebody like a junkyard dog and focus on them, because spreading the love is not a great way. You don't want to piss everybody off. If somebody sees you attacking your opponent, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to allow that. I mean, it's helping me. So you want to eke as much value as you can out when you're playing Avacyn. Not Avacyn, Kaalia. So one of the ways to make things indestructible is we got Avacyn Angel of Hope. Makes everything on your side of the board indestructible. We have Archangel Avacyn. This is when it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get indestructible until end of turn. One or more creatures you control attack, they get indestructible until end of turn. Other creatures you control with flying have indestructible, which is, I believe, every creature in this deck just about, except for like maybe Elish Norn. And then I have other things like a Chroma's Will and stuff I'll show you later too, Teferi's Protection, that you can use with a timed board wipe. One of the things I want to point out with Avacyn is because she cheats your mana cost, you pay 4 mana, right? And then you play your Avacyn, and then on your next turn you have 5 and you attack and put out Scourge of the Throne for free. You still have 5 mana to cast on whatever you want. It's not like it just makes things cheaper and you still have to cast all your mana. You have a ton of mana. So if you're cheating out an 8 cost angel and then you still have 5 mana, you're getting 13 mana's worth of value in a turn. So it's very, very good. So another thing we want to do is get extra turns, right? So we're running Aurelia the War Leader, Scourge of the Throne, and these give you extra turns. We have some tutors in our deck, but these are also tutors on a creature. I think it's important to have like creatures that are like utility as well. This destroys target creature. This one just says destroy target permanent. So there's different modes for these, but for the most part, I'm just trying to beat face. This one is new to Commander Legends. It says flying, first strike, vigilance, trample. At the beginning of each combat until end of turn, each creature you control gets +1/+1 if it has a keyword. Basically, double strike, hexproof, protection, reach, whatever. And almost everything in this deck has that, so this usually ends up pumping your creatures by 2 or 3 every turn. So this is fantastic. Pestilence Demon is a little bit like a board wipe as well, which is nice. But yeah, so if you go onto EDH Rec and look at Kaalia of the Vast, you're probably going to see a lot of similar stuff people are using. I'm trying to make this more optimized. Platinum Angel's always been one of my favorites. You can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. Put a hexproof on that or indestructible, it's pretty rude. But yeah, so this deck is really cool. When I first made this deck, I did more like a Conspiracy and Maskwood Nexus, which makes all of your creatures outside of the battlefield too into changelings. And I would use the Pyre of Heroes almost like a birthing pod, and which is kind of cool if you run it that way because say you sacrifice something that cost 6 here, and then you can go find something that costs 7, and they're all the same type. And I think it was more unique, and I got a little bit of props for playing stuff like that. And it's cool. So you don't have to do this. Kaalia can be expensive this way, but luckily there's a lot of cheap angels because they're so high mana cost. Next, why don't we go over the tutors? So over the tutors, you saw Rudenscar Demon and Varagoth, which are tutors in itself, but I'm also running Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, and of course Gamble. Some of the things I'm going to tutor for the most in this deck are the boots, so I can give haste and hexproof to my commander. I usually look for my Armageddon, just because every single time I've cast this, I've won that game. And if James, if you're watching, one of my friends I play with, he will testify down below that every game I've played Armageddon, I've won with. It's a little bit of a controversial card, but it's very good. So next, let's go over some of the good stuff I have here, and then we'll go over removal next. So this is Akroma's Will. This is one of those cards that when I first saw it, it was only a few bucks, and I knew this would go up because I see this as like a Triumph of the Hordes or a Cyclonic Rift in a way that it can just kill a player for 4 mana. So it says creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike until end of turn, or you can choose creatures gain lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors. If you have your commander out, you can choose both. This mixed with the board wipe obviously gives you one-sided, but even not then, considering you might have like a 6/6, a 7/7, and an 8/8, and a 5/5, giving them all double strike and lifelink is going to put you very far ahead. Oftentimes it'll kill somebody, gaining you sometimes 27 life or more. And then, of course, it's got protection from all colors, so you're going to get in. They're not going to be able to stop your creatures or block them. So for 4 mana, this is insanely valuable. I know recently Boros has been getting a lot of great new cards. I think WotC has been hearing our cries. Running Teferi's Protection, also good with board wipes. This is new from Commander Legends. It's called Promise of Tomorrow. Whenever a creature you control dies, exile it. At the beginning of each end step, if I control no creatures, sacrifice Promise of Tomorrow and return all cards exiled to the battlefield under your control. So you can pop this down, just hang on, play a board wipe. You can even hang out with it for a while, just in case somebody uses removal. But this is a fantastic card, and I think you can get it for $1 or $2. This is fantastic. Seize the Day. So just like Aurelia and Scourge of the Throne, this says untap target creature. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. It's got flashback for 3. You play this, untap your Kaalia, put out another big beefy dragon, and then flashback again if you want, and then do it again. Running Elesh Norn, I believe one of the very 2 or 3 creatures that aren't angels, demons, or dragons are in this deck. So just because it's value and good. Giver of Runes, one of the other ones. Another target creature you control gains protection from colorless or from the color of your choice until end of turn. This is fantastic because you need to protect your Kaalia. This is probably the most defensive card I run in this entire deck because this deck is not about having defense. I mean, you could run Ghostly Prison and stuff, but really it is about just go, 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 go. It's about haste and shroud. It's about beating your opponent's face. So creatures you control have double strike. This is so strong. And lastly, one of the good stuff is Fervor. Creatures you control have haste for 3 mana. Play at the turn before you have Kaalia and you're good to go. There is a new card that came out, I think, in Throne of Eldraine, I believe, called Crashing Drawbridge. It's an artifact for 25 cents. that says for 2 mana, you play your defender, and you can tap it to creatures you control get haste until end of turn. So basically every turn you just tap it. And this costs 3 mana to do the same thing as that artifact. So I could actually switch it out. But I like Fervor. I like that it's a little bit harder to remove because Crashing Drawbridge is a creature, but it is fantastic. Honestly, I could just run both. Next, let's go over removal here. So I'm not running like the best removal package. It's not horrible either. Like I don't have Path to Exile, but I'm running Rakdos Charm. Exile all creatures, cards from target graveyard, destroy target artifact. Darksteel Mutation. Take somebody's commander and turn it into an indestructible 0/1. If you haven't seen this card, that's what it does. For 2 mana, enchant creature. It becomes an insect. It's a 0/1 and it's indestructible. Now this is much worse than the worst type of removal because if somebody needs their commander, it's just so hard for them. I use a sword. I consider this in my removal package because yes, it does give you a little bit of power, but for the most part, it destroys planeswalkers and artifacts. The +2/+2 is pretty much inconsequential, and the way we run the deck with the board wipes for creatures, it doesn't really matter that you have protection from black and red, but it can come up. Destroy target creature or enchantment, destroy target permanent, exile target creature, and then Generous Gift destroys target permanent. And then this is one, I believe it's from Cons, and it says deals 2 damage to each opponent. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures he or she controls. So this is trying to slows down your opponents while being aggressive. I think, okay, so we went over the ramp, I think, first. The only thing we have left in here is the lands and the board wipes. So for board wipes, I'm running Armageddon. Now, this is a little bit controversial. Some people don't want you to play with it, and I have a philosophy, you guys, so check this out. I think you shouldn't play Armageddon if you're losing, and it's not going to help you win. It slows down the game, and it's really rude. And if you do that, your playgroup's going to come up to you and say, you know what, Armageddon is just toxic, and it's making us salty, so please stop using it. But I think that playgroups are a little bit more kind and caring with the Armageddon as long as you use it well-timed and use it to win. So if you can ask James, every time I've played this, I've won, and I time it to where I might tutor it first, and then you play your Armageddon. Your opponents might have played a couple mana rocks. Maybe they played some little dirtily creatures. Maybe they have one flyer, but nothing that compares to like an Avacyn or a Scourge of the Throne or a big dragon that's indestructible. Nothing compares, right? So you basically stop your opponents from growing. You don't need mana because Kaalia cheats mana. So, like I said, every time I've played this, I've played it early game. You play it, and then it goes like this. All right, I play a land, pass. I don't have a land, pass. I play a land and land war elves, pass. All right, I attack with a 6/6, an 8/8, and a 2/2. All right, okay, I don't draw land, so pass. I pass. And then it comes back to you, and you're like, all right, I attack with a 6/6, an 8/8, a 2/2, and a 7/7 to the same player, and you get so far ahead that the game is much shortened. I think it would be rude to play this if you had a small board, you needed to spend mana, you couldn't cast your commander because somebody killed it, and now you just reset the game for no reason while people are top decking for land. That's not cool. I don't think that's cool. But if you do play Armageddon, just use it like that. And then when your players say, hey, land destruction isn't cool in Commander, I'm like, look, neither is playing Boros, but this is like an edge that I have in this deck that's super aggressive, that I need my commander. And every time I've played this, the game lasted less than like 6 more minutes. So, and then say, guys, I promise I won't use it if I'm not in a position that I can win from. And also just tell them, if they really don't like it, then take it out. But that's your case for Armageddon. You should use it if you don't have it. If you have it, you should use it. Blasphemous Act. A lot of these you probably already know. This exiles, so it can be a little iffy if you have indestructible. But other than that, I run more destroy. So this is modal, has artifacts, enchantments. You might just use this for enchantments or artifacts and planeswalkers and just stay away from the creatures. Destroy creatures, destroy artifacts or enchantments. You get to choose 2. Wrath of God. Destroy all creatures that can't regenerate it. And Day of Judgment, destroy all creatures. So that is the way, that's it. So the strategy here is to make your creatures indestructible or recurable and then use board wipes. And then take extra turns as far as combat goes. It's not extra turns, but it might as well be. And then, yeah, that's it, guys. So, lastly, it's the land. It's not interesting. I have a lot of different decks, so I'm running out of fetch lands and shock lands. So this mana base has been good to me so far. I'm only running like, 10 dual lands in a 3-color deck. So let's check it out here. Command Tower. The bounce lands, one of each color combination. 1 black-red, 1 black-white. I got Bloodstained Mire, or what is the other one too? Black-red, black-white, and red-black. So these are really fantastic because one of the problems you run across is you play something like this. All right, you play a black-white, then you get another white, and you're like, okay, I need another black and red because I can only tap for one or, right? So those are actually very good, and even if I had a more expensive mana base, I'd probably still run them. I've always been able to play my commander very fast, even with the bounce lands. So, yeah, so that's it. Just 2 fetch lands, right? A Prismatic Vista, a Bloodstained Mire. This one can come either red or black. And then a triple land from the old Tarkir set. And then I happen to get one of these from a Commander Legends pack, and I happen to get one of these from a Modern Horizons pack. So that's all I've got for dual lands. Maybe over time, as I collect more lands, I'll upgrade the lands in this. But thank you guys for watching. Give us some comments down below. Tell us what you think. Is there anything that you do different with your deck? Have you ever tried building it in a way that's, like I said, more of like a Changeling themed deck? And yeah, I do giveaways. Last video I did, if you've seen my videos, I gave away a pack of the Evil Eddie, or the Eddie. Sorry, no, I gave away a pack of Evil Ernie, not Evil Eddie. Sorry, Evil Ernie packs, and I only had 2 people enter for it. I gave it away, and I'm probably gonna do another giveaway next video. So thank you guys again. Give a like, give a subscribe. Leave a comment, tell me what you think about the deck, or if there's anything you'd do differently. And yeah, I'll see you guys later, guys. Bye.